As the AI revolution accelerates, there will be enormous global consequences, some that we can predict, some that are still quite unknown, and some that are unknown unknowns. Stick with me here. But among the changes we can already start to foresee is the possibility that in an AI powered new world, the humble GPU is going to become the new oil, with all the conflicts and competition that might accompany a global scramble for essential new commodities, in this case GPUs. And just look what's happening with Taiwan right now. In fact, the founder and CEO of Grok, Jonathan Ross, has said that compute is the new oil. Well, OpenAI leader Sam Altman said compute is going to be the currency of the future. It will maybe be the most precious commodity in the world. Now, to get an idea of what all that even means, let's start by thinking about oil's place in the world up until now to try to get a good handle on this analogy. You see, throughout the 20th century and still now, oil has driven the global economy, making it the most valuable resource in the world and a core influence on finance, geopolitics, regional conflicts, diplomacy, and really just about everything you can possibly imagine happening in your life. It all comes back to oil to some degree. And of course, we have the petrodollar, meaning dollars paid to oil producing countries, which price oil in dollars and then sell it for dollars, which has been propping up the dollar for decades now. The petrodollar, of course, has been at the heart of the U.S. economy and U.S. empire since the term was coined in the early 1970s, with America, of course, having come off the gold standard in 1971. But you can also find plenty of speculation about a possible shift away from the petrodollar, tied in with questions around the dollar status as a world reserve currency and U.S. debt and inflation, interest rates, and all the rest of that stuff. Now, before we go on and get into the GPU section of this, I just want to remind you real quick about the Wealth Mastery newsletter. It is the best damn newsletter in the cryptocurrency business. Every week, my team of researchers and I work hard to bring you all of the latest on Bitcoin, altcoins, meme coins, DeFi, NFTs, and much, much more. We do charts, we do analysis. You can join 135,000 plus weekly readers for free by using the link down below in the description or the pinned comment over on X. They love it. I'm sure you will too. Get it checked out. Now back onto the topic. So we know what oil is. We know what the impact of it is as a commodity in the globe. But why exactly are GPUs going to surpass oil as the world's most sought after commodity? Well, let's focus on a couple of events that provide hints about how this shift is actually already starting to play out. So back in May, Bloomberg reported a story about Alat, which is a new Saudi Arabian conglomerate focused on technology manufacturing. Now, it was founded this year by the Saudi Sovereign Wealth Fund, and it is part of the Saudi Vision 2030, a scheme to diversify the Saudi economy away from its dependence on oil revenue, and they'll have the newest commodity, GPUs. Now, as quoted in reports, the CEO of Alat stated that Saudi would be willing to divest away from China if the U.S. requested it to do so, and has said that the U.S. is the number one partner for us and the number one market for AI, chips, and the semiconductor industry, aka the future of everything. And according to Bloomberg, in talks on national security issues, U.S. officials have told their Saudi Arabian counterparts that they need to choose between Chinese and American technology as they aim to build out the Saudi Arabian semiconductor industry. Choose a side, guys. Geopolitics, always out there, isn't it? It's the petro GPU. Anyway, what's more, this news comes as addition to news earlier this year that Abu Dhabi tech company called G42 was also convinced by U.S. officials to divest its Chinese holdings and to cut ties with Chinese companies, opting instead for access to American technology. And no doubt, of course, a big factor would be a subsequent $1.5 billion investment from Microsoft to help accelerate AI development and global expansion. So overall, it looks like the USA is actively prying AI companies in the Middle East away from Chinese hands and toward U.S.'s warm, welcoming embrace and money, and is offering, of course, access to American GPUs and American technology resources as a means to do so, which indicates just how valuable those GPUs are. They're already having massive geopolitical positioning over GPU power, considering that this is happening in extremely oil-rich countries too, and that, of course, all this is backed up by the view from older reports, as in 2023, Saudi Arabia purchased 3,000 NVIDIA H100 GPUs, while the UAE also acquired thousands of that same GPU. Now, these are GPUs designed specifically for generative AI. They're enterprise ready, and they cost around $40,000 each. That's a lot of money for a GPU, man, meaning Saudi Arabia spent $120 million to buy these. And these purchases demonstrate that both Saudi Arabia and the UAE have traded oil for petrodollars and then petrodollars for GPUs, for compute power, in order to build AI and to transform economically away from their oil-dependent economies. It was also reported in 2023 that Chinese companies had ordered $5 billion worth of NVIDIA chips, but could only in the end receive performance-limited products due to U.S. export controls on microchips that were brought in with the aim of preventing, of course, China from gaining any kind of competitive advantage in the market and gaining access to those highest end chips. It's a trade war going on, guys. And since then, controls have been tightened even further still, while more restrictions have been proposed by the current administration, the Biden administration, to prohibit U.S. investment into China's tech sector, specifically targeting AI, semiconductors, and quantum computing, with Paul Rosen over at the Treasury Department stating this proposed rule advances our national security by preventing the many benefits certain U.S. investments provide beyond just capital from supporting the development of sensitive technologies in countries that may use them to then threaten our national security. AI, GPUs becoming the front line in a new trade war and potentially in a hot war. However, there are also reports of Chinese research facilities and universities obviously managing to get a hold of chips anyway. The Chinese chip industry domestically has been booming despite the bans, and China has been placing its own retaliatory restrictions on U.S. products. So we're looking now at some kind of tit-for-tat trade war, maybe even something of a second Cold War, a tech Cold War, if you will. It's a national security issue, with the added wild card that the U.S. might even soon have a new president. Well, who knows how the heck Trump's going to end up dealing with China and the GPU situation and the front of AI and all that kind of stuff. We'll have to wait and see about that in the event, of course, that he wins the election.
I just sold an apartment for $15 million to somebody from China. Am I supposed to dislike him?
Also, though, potential AI resource issues are not only about the chips themselves, as other major factors in this come down to, well, those GPUs driving AI consume power, a lot of power. In fact, Morgan Stanley has predicted that data centers are growing and AI power demands will increase by 70% annually through 2027. But Wells Fargo forecasts that AI electricity requirements could actually surge from 8 terawatt hours now to 652 terawatt hours in 2030. And I think it was Sam Altman who was saying the biggest roadblock right now is energy production, not GPU production. 9 out of the top 10 US electricity utilities have identified data centers as the key drivers of growing demand. And by the way, data centers are core to these technological innovations now taking place, as highlighted recently by NVIDIA boss Jensen Huang, who said, talking specifically about data centers, here's what he said: there's a new industrial revolution happening in these rooms. I call them AI factories. Pretty cool, right? Which is kind of a useful way to think about what's happening right now, with data centers being the AI revolution to what factories were to the industrial revolution. But in that case, where is all the power that AI factories will suck up going to come from? And that's a lot of power. Well, OpenAI CEO Sam Altman is, as you might expect, deeply involved in that part of the story. As in back in 2021, he invested $375 million into an energy company called Helion Energy. Now he's also a backer at an energy startup, which is called Oklo, and he's the chairman at both companies. Now, both Helion Energy and Oklo are both working on advanced nuclear technology. And Helion states that it's building the world's first fusion power plant and enabling a future with unlimited clean electricity. Very exciting stuff. Very exciting stuff. It sounds amazing and potentially transformative for the whole gosh darn world. And meanwhile, Oklo is out there working as well on nuclear fission with plans that are well on course to being able to welcome the deployment of small modular reactors to power the AI revolution. It looks possible then that the enormous incoming demand for electricity to power all this AI stuff and all these GPUs might trigger rapid progress in the energy industry as well. And in that case, GPUs, or compute power, really might be on the way to becoming our most valuable commodity. Back in March, NVIDIA surpassed Saudi Arabia's national oil company, Saudi Aramco, to become the third largest company in the world by market cap, which seemed kind of symbolic, actually, considering everything we're talking about here. And NVIDIA is still in the top 3 spot there, just behind Apple and Microsoft at the time we wrote the script. Could be different by the time you watch that. Now, as for what's coming next, a forecast by Statista has predicted that the worldwide GPU market is set to grow from its current $65 billion valuation to a $274 billion valuation by 2029. By comparison, data from 2023 values the crude oil market at $2.1 trillion and gives the top 10 metal markets a combined valuation of $967 billion. Now, in terms of market value, then, GPUs have a long way to go before they catch up with oil. But there's an opportunity there, isn't there? And the AI revolution that we're living through right now is just getting started. We haven't even yet got to the part some people are either very excited about or a little nervous about, which is when, of course, artificial intelligence starts improving itself. And we then have the first ever technology that autonomously creates its own next generation versions. And at that point, holy crap, if that happens, then all bets are off. Things are going to get real crazy, and we're going to need a lot of GPUs and a lot of energy. It's going to be an interesting ride either way. So buckle up, watch for great investments, and thanks for watching.